Hang cleans, we're starting off with 3 sets of 5, so very quick, very explosive with those hang cleans, working those fast twitch muscle fibers. Then we're going to be moving to our upper body, and we're going to be doing push press, so hitting the front part of our delt here, up overhead. Then we're going to move into our first superset. So this superset is going to have a strength component with a more lightweight, so we can get both like the full end of the muscle fiber spectrum, so we're getting a lot of work here. So we have dumbbell suitcase deadlifts, or if you have a hex bar, trap bar, that would work as well. And then we have alternating jump lunge. So we have 3 sets of 8 and then moving into 3 sets of 5 on each leg, and I'll show you what that looks like in the next video. Then we're gonna finish off, after you rest, recover, we're gonna finish off with some lateral med ball throws. So there's gonna be a lot of the core rotational force that we're gonna be getting in. And then finally, we're gonna get, we're gonna end with some single leg box step up jumps, really targeting one leg at a time, so we can mimic some of that running, that speed sort of work that we want to get. So I'm going to show you guys what that looks like in the next video, and I'll see you there. We're going to be starting off with hang clean. So before we get started, if you've never done a hang clean before, I would recommend that you do dumbbells instead. It's a little bit easier. With the hang clean, we're just going to be starting from that top position. Think of that front rack pull, the top of that front rack pull position we had yesterday. We're going to be here, and then we're going to use our legs as quickly and as forcefully as we can to get that barbell up. So, before we get started too as well, if you have any like knee issues or anything like that, I want to make sure that you guys can still do this movement, so you can move into a power hang clean, which is just be catching it at that top position and not catching it at that bottom position. So, to get ourselves set up for the hang clean, we're going to be just above the knees here. So we're almost in like a little bit of a hinge, a little bit of a squat. So we're here, chest is up. We're going to drive up with our legs. The movement comes from the legs. Drive up from the legs. When you get to about 3/4 to halfway up your thighs, you're going to pop those hips through as hard as you possibly can to get into triple extension. Triple extension just means that you're extended at the ankles, the knees, and the hips, that we're not leaving anything behind. So we're not here with our knees bent or we're leaving our hips behind. We're all the way up and through. So I like to think of it by just jumping as high as I possibly can. That is the same motion that I'm going to be doing, except we're going to have a barbell in our hand here. Hips go all the way up and through. Then you're going to essentially almost like upright row the bar up before shooting your elbows up and through to catch it. So this is one of the more complex movements that we have, but don't worry, just try your best. So we're here, up and through, and you'll find if you don't use your legs enough, you really have to struggle to use your upper body, and that's not what we want to do. You have to give this 100% every single time, or it's not really going to work. So we're here all the way up and through, and then the catch, you're going to be dropping as you shoot your elbows through and catch and come on back up. Right now I'm dealing with a little bit of a knee issue, a little bit of a shoulder issue, so I'm going to be working to, I'll show you guys this, but just if it's not perfect, you guys can't judge me. So we're here, down to that hang position, up. That would be power, right? That would be just catching up high. Try to get my elbows up as much as possible. And then if we're going to do a full clean, be here, or hang clean, here, and on up. So we have 5 reps of that. Then we're going to be moving into push press. So if you have a barbell, you can set up a barbell for a push press. That's awesome. If not, we can also do dumbbells as well. But let me show you the dumbbell hang clean as well. So you need a little bit heavier dumbbells probably than this. Same movement, except they're just down by your side here. And then it's hips up and through, catch, and then either power or hang from there. So you need to choose a dumbbell when you're doing the dumbbell clean that you can't just curl up, or else you're just going to do bicep curls. You need, which some of you might want to do, but you need to get a heavy enough weight that you really have to use the legs. So for the push press, now I would normally have this rack set up a little bit higher before we get into it. I would have it actually about here so I can just step up underneath it. So anytime we're doing overhead press, what we need to do is we need to get ourselves set, right? We need to get our feet planted, we need to get our abs nice and tight, and we need to get a strong base and get ourselves set up in the front rack position. So whether it be dumbbells or barbell, we need to have those ribs down, those abs nice and tight. We need to have our shoulder blades back, and we need to have our lats turned on before we get ready to actually press overhead. Our lats actually they're a big muscle, but they also help with shoulder stability, especially overhead. So we don't want to be up into our traps. We want to have our lats on as we're up overhead. That may take a little bit of mobility as we as we start to progress, but that's what we're essentially shooting for. Instead of doing a push press where we're pushing out like this, because we lack the shoulder mobility to go up and overhead. So, just going to clean this up. Into the front rack position. So from here, my abs are tight and I'm pulling my lats on. Now I'm just going to drop down slightly, so to get a little bit of leg momentum. So I'm here, pressing up overhead. Now I'm down, pressing up overhead. And what that will look like, you have 10 of those, probably a little heavy for me. Want to be fast, want to be explosive with it. If you're going to do dumbbells, it'll be here, drop down, just a little dip, up overhead, back down, up overhead, back down, up overhead. So that is the push press. Now, what we're going to be moving into is our dumbbell suitcase deadlift jump straight into alternating jump lunge. So, essentially you'll have 2 dumbbells down by your side. Try to make them pretty heavy to moderate weight. From here, you're going to just do a squat, like a hack squat. So, feet shoulder width apart, screw your feet into the floor, chest stays up, pull yourself down, that bottom position of almost like a jump, and then you are just essentially going to jump with these up as high as you can. So we're here, jumping up, trying to get as high as you possibly can for 8 reps. Right after you're done with that, we're going to go into alternating jump lunge. So, alternating jump lunge, we're going to get in the bottom position of a lunge. So, hips, knees, ankle, all in a line. Chest stays up. Feet could be about shoulder width apart. That'll give you more stability. From here, you are going to take your arms as you use your legs. Throw them up as high as you can because we're going for height, and then you're going to alternate. So it'll look like this. For the 5 reps on each side. Don't worry if you're not getting as high. We just smoked your legs right before. This is part of what we're doing. It'll end up building more explosive, more powerful legs. Then the last 2 plyometric things we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a lateral med ball toss. So when you have the med ball, whatever side you're starting on, so for this, pretend I have a med ball here. Actually, what we're going to do is you're going to get your base just about outside of shoulder width apart. Now from here, you're going to actually think of like coiling your body. So I'm dropping down, I'm leaning into this leg, I'm loading this leg, creating my hands here so it's at my hip pocket, right? It's like right at my hip. And then I'm going to drive off this outside leg. So force starts to generate here, drive off using that quad. Then I'm going to rotate the hips like a baseball swing as then I transfer that force from the leg to the hip up to the abs and then finally finishing off through the arms into the wall. So it'll be here and then you're throwing, right? So it's not a push, but we are throwing with the rotational force. And then lastly, we have single leg box step up jumps. So what you're going to do, whether you have a box or whether you have a bench, it's pretty simple. All you're going to do is have one leg up here. Try to keep your shin angle nice and vertical. Arms opposite of the leg that's going up. So if my left knee is up, my right arm starts up. And then as I drive up, I'm shifting that weight into that running position. and trying to get as much height as possible. So it's here for the reps on each side. So that's power day. I'll see you in tomorrow's video.